Next, let's look at the hip hinge. This is a motion that most people don't do often. I want you to stand with your feet about hip width. You're gonna put a slight bend in your knees. 99% of the time, some number, you're going to have a slight bend in the knees. I think we call this often an athletic position. Call it a hero position. A hero doesn't stand locked out because from here, I can't do much. From here, I can go sideways, forwards, backwards, forward. I'm ready to react. I'm also relaxed in that ready position. So whenever we're doing movements and stuff, you're here doing your quest, 99.9% of the time, you are in this position. We never want our knees hyper locked or hyperextended, and a slight bend. There's that soapbox. From here, you're gonna take your hands, you're gonna place them right at your hips, not your waist, your belly button, where most people will bend, but down hips, like right where the leg connects to the hip. You're going to, with that slight bend in your knees, push your hips backwards as you lean your chest forward, ultimately going for perpendicular to the ground. From there, you're gonna stand up by pushing your hips forward. Hips go back, slight bend in the knees, maybe you feel a stretch in the hamstrings, and then the hips come forwards to bring me up. Like those old school drinking birds. You're hinging at the hips, feeling a stretch in the back of the legs. As you stand up, squeeze the glutes. So by the time you get to the top, this is rock hard, firing on, and so is those hamstrings. That's where you want to feel the work. If you're feeling it in your low back, two things might be going on. One, your legs might be locked. Because if my legs are straight and I don't have the flexibility, I will start to round my back, as you can see, right here in the low back. And then I'll start pulling with my back. The other thing that can happen, especially when we have weight involved, is we're rounding our upper back. You're not keeping those lats fired up. You're not keeping your upper back turned on in your hero pose. As always, core is braced, locked up. Get in that hero pose. Now just put a slight bend in the knees and send those hips back, leading with your sternum, your chest, your superhero emblem. Again, you're not trying to come way down here. You want a flat back, so you want that nice, proud, but not ridiculous. Get it? All right, let's go with it. So this can be also helpful. The next fault that we see with most people is this. They're used to working out with a mirror, which is bad. Don't do it. That's a personal opinion. We can get into it later. Stop worrying about how you look. Start worrying about how you feel. When you're out in the real world, you're not going to be looking in a mirror when you go to pick up something heavy. You're going to be feeling, is this okay? Am I getting hurt? So start right now. I like, just like with the squat, I'm going to pick a point about 45 degrees or straight, usually 45 degree. Roll that shoulder down. As I hinge, I'm going to start looking straight down to keep my neck flat, as if I'm actually picking something up, like you would in the real world. You're going to not overreach around your back. You're going to keep flat. You're shooting for about mid-shin with your hands. In the real world, tangent, if you need to get something lower, bend your legs. Then you straighten your legs, and then you stand up. But for now, we're just going to focus on slight bend in the knees, sending the hips back, and stopping wherever our flexibility stops us. You're just constantly going to be monitoring here in the beginning until your body gets this into your muscle memory, that flat back. As soon as it feels like I'm starting to round and reach, I'm going to stop and stand up. Let's look at our difficulties. So for our explorers, we're going to do a like leg curl. You can do this at a machine at the gym, or what you can do is you're going to set yourself up either sitting down and put your feet up against like the legs of the chair, and you're going to try to pull your legs, like your heels, to your butt. Just press. You should feel the back of your legs fire up. If you're laying in a bed, even better version, let's see if I can mimic this here. No, not that, is to do a hip bridge. It's probably a little bit harder, but better. I'm going to lay with my feet standing. We'll get this to where you can at least see my legs. And I'm going to press and draw my heels towards my butt to get my glutes and my hamstrings, the back of my legs turned on as I drive my hips forward. Oh my gosh, look how tight I am. I can't go that high. So a little bit easier for you, maybe. It'll be easier to see. From here, again, I'm going to keep my back down or my shoulders down. I'm going to drive into my legs to try to lift my hips. If your low back starts to hurt, you stop. You just go a little bit, even if it's just half an inch off the ground of the bed, then back down. The goal is to get the back of your legs firing. Adventurers, you're probably going to do this, maybe start off with just body weight or light weights, but body weight, the nice thing is we got that sturdy, stable surface. We can use it to hinge forward, make sure we don't fall. Really focusing on that slight bend in the knees, hips going back, back is flat, and then I come up. From there, we can do it with body weight. Heroic, you're going to be doing it with either a single weight in between the legs, so I'll show that. The legs are going to probably be a little bit wider so we don't hit our knees. Same thing, I'm going to go flat, keeping my arms engaged, not reaching for the ground, flat back, stand up, firing the hips. We can also do this with 2 weights on the side, make sure that they're actually the same. And then you're going to hinge forward. Feet are going to be probably a little bit narrower standing up. There is your 3 difficulties of deadlift.